This could end up being a long video. So stick around. I think it'll be worth it. And the reason I said it might be long is because I want to go over everything, meaning the creation, purpose of life, relationship with God, Jesus, this reality, enlightenment, God enlightenment, Satan and his warriors, alternatives that will never come about. And I wanted to let you know also that there are people that watch these videos. Sorry for the airplanes again. There are people that watch these videos, and I understand that for the most part, most people are in the background and they don't want to communicate with me because there's a plethora of reasons, but it's entirely possible that they don't want to email me or anything because they think I'm busy. They maybe think that you just don't normally communicate with somebody like myself because you think that I'm something more than what I am. But I'm not. I'm just a normal person, retired firefighter. I've been doing this spiritual stuff since I was 5, 6 years old. I have 3 people. I've had communications with many people, but 3 consistently email me. 3 men, young men. Benjamin, Jonathan, and Ari are the only 3 that email me every now and then. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to communicate offline, so to say, not on videos, with people. It's not like I don't know what their perspective is of me, but I don't think of myself as being this great fountain of wisdom, although I know that I am, in that that's certainly the way it should be, since I've experienced enlightenment and oneness with God, and I've had visions and revelations and things that are written about in Bibles and Vedas and stuff like that, and it's real for me. And I get it. I'm not stupid. I understand that most people, if they heard me saying these things, would think, oh, this guy's delusional, or he's lying, or a lunatic. And I guess that's partly why I refuse, or let's put it this way, no matter how many people listen to me or whatever, I would never accept a dime in any way, shape, or form for what I do. Even if I were to have money income from YouTube, which obviously that would never happen with the so few views that I get, but even if that were to happen, I would take 100% of that money and I don't know. I guess I would turn it over to worthy bums that I might see on the street, because I absolutely don't want to have any motivating factors other than I love you. I love my God. And I'm grateful for everything that I've received from God. Not only my retirement and the ability to do this without being homeless, but that I have received so much knowledge and wisdom and experiences free of charge from God. And so it would not be right to accept money or gifts or anything. Not that I ever would anyways, but I'm just saying that in advance to let you know that there's no motivating factor other than I love God and I love you. I love my family. Okay, so this video, what is it about? I made it crystal clear. It's about everything. I've mentioned this, it's been a while, but I'll say it again. Almost everything I'm saying in this video, it has been in other videos, but fragmented. This particular video, I'm going to try to put the entire picture together. So might I suggest you turn the video off right now and don't watch it until you have the time to sit down, have some popcorn, a drink, comfortable, turn your cell phone off. It's like going to the movies. You should wait until you have the opportunity to watch it in its entirety without any distractions. So that you, and then when you do that, let me suggest another thing. That you watch it in the same vein that you would watch a movie about Superman or something of that nature, where you're not sitting there going, well, that's impossible. Nobody can fly through the air. Well, in a movie, you just accept it as being real because you're there to be entertained. If you watch this in that same way, I'm here to be entertained. I don't care what this guy says. I'm going to accept it as the truth because it's just a movie. And all I'm doing is watching it in its entirety. And then at the end of the movie, I'll make a decision what I do and do not believe. But in the meantime, I will accept everything in its entirety. And you know what? Everybody does that every time they go watch a movie. That's just common. That's why they are exciting, because you know going into the movie that it's fake, it isn't real, but when you sit down and the movie comes on, your brain of reasoning goes out the window and you accept everything that comes at you because you want to be entertained. That's the way this should be. And the reason it should be that way is because it's like the concept that I don't remember the perfect scenario, but it goes something like this. It's some thing about the elephant, okay? And one person is feeling the trunk, and another one is, and they're blind, and another one is the leg, and you know, they have all these different explanations for what it is they are experiencing. And of course, none of them come up with the reality that it's an elephant, and the only reason is because they only have fragments. And so I'm going to give you the entire picture. But you can't understand what it is unless you take the whole thing in its entirety. So, as always in my videos, I do a lot of prayer. I do fasting. I do over days, sometimes weeks, I pray to my Father in heaven for guidance and direction to be able to present this in a fashion that would be as if it were coming out of the mouth of Christ or out of the mouth of God himself. Now, I know that's not going to happen because I'm a very imperfect being, but I pray for those helps and assistances so that what I'm presenting to you is in the best possible format available on the planet. And I guess that's part of why they talk about a living gospel. Well, the only way to have a living gospel is when there's a living person giving that particular gospel. Once that person is dead, it's no longer a living gospel. It is a dead, corrupt teaching that, remember the word corrupt. It isn't, that's not a real horrible negative thing. All it means is it isn't any longer representative of the absolute truth. And that's the only meaning that I would attach to when I say corrupt. It is no longer perfect in its representation. That doesn't mean that there isn't a whole lot of beneficial information there. But when I say the Bible is corrupt, or the Vedas, or all the Sanskrit, and all the teachings on that have ever been recorded on the earth are corrupt. And that's because they are not coming as a direct link from God to you. So, for instance, for me, it is not corrupt. It's absolutely perfect because I am currently, right this second, saying things that come directly to me through the Spirit. Does that mean I didn't prepare for this? No, I did prepare for this. But as you can tell, I'm not reading notes or anything. So it's by the Spirit. And so it's perfect. But is it perfect to you? Of course not. Because there's an interpretation. Even though it's first-hand interpretation, it's still an interpretation. And so it isn't perfect in that fashion. But it's the best we got here. We can't really do better than this. Okay, with no further ado. I want to start in a thread that starts from the beginning and carries through somewhat. But rather than that, I have to throw this out there. Because I thought about this and it's kind of important. But this is what I wanted to throw out there. I want you to listen to this carefully and pretend I'm having a discussion with the Creator God, the God that Jesus prayed to, Brahma, or whatever God you assume is the greatest God of all, whatever that deity is. I'm having a conversation with that God. This is the way of the perfect communication between God and yourself. Now, most of you, if not all of you, are not there yet. But you have to get there before you ever become God enlightened. You have to get there. You have to get there. And it has to be something like this. Otherwise, you will never get there. And it has to be like this if you're ever to become one with God. It's going to seem extremely blasphemous. I don't think I'll use a bunch of profanity, and maybe no profanity. But when I thought about this concept yesterday, I was using a lot of profanity in my mind to make a point. Hyperbole, kind of. So here's a conversation between myself. You could substitute yourself in my shoes and God. Okay, it goes something like this. Let's pretend I'm an atheist, or just someone that is pissed off at reality, pissed off that I live in a world where things are not fair, upset because people suffer and die. I'm pissed off because I work hard to be rich and I'm not rich. I'm pissed off because I have diseases, sickness, or I'm dying. Pissed off because mosquitoes bite me. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just reflective of a life or a reality that we exist in. And because of that, I'm having a conversation with God. And I say, I don't like what's going on. And God says, well, you have to get in line. Now, mind you, I'm going to switch between God Brahma and God of this reality, Satan, the devil, Shiva, or any of the other particular gods that isn't the exact God that Jesus prayed to. So one God might say to you, well, I created everything. You need to follow me and do what I tell you to do, or I will send you to hell for all eternity, because I am the God of all gods and I have more power than anything. Now it's me responding to that God. I don't recognize your power and authority. I'm not going to bow down to you or get on my knees. I don't like your attitude towards me, in fact. So no, I'm not going to recognize you as my God. I do not love you. I will not pray to you. And then let's say this God says back to you, well, how would you like to go to outer darkness for all eternity? How would you like me to send you to hell? How would you like me to curse you so that you suffer a miserable, miserable death, and your family too, and everything else? Then what do you think? And then my response would be, I don't think anything different than what I thought before. And in fact, I don't care what you do to my body. If you are the God of my body, then you do whatever you're going to do. I can't say that I don't care, because in fact I do care. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to go to hell for all eternity. But if I have to, then I have to. I will wait for the next kalpa of time to be awakened, if need be, before I will bend a knee for you. Because I don't like you. I don't like your attitude. Now let's shift gears a little bit. The God that Jesus prayed to. Now I'm going to have a conversation with that God. But how is that conversation going to go? Well, it's going to go something like this. And now I'm speaking to you as if I were a prophet. Because I am God enlightened. And because I have had communications with this God. And I know this God to a certain extent. Probably more so than anyone on the planet that's alive today. And so here's the conversation with that God. And let's say I'm not God enlightened yet, but I'm having a conversation with that God. And I would go the same way. I don't like these things. I don't like the way my life is going. I don't like the way that the whole world is going. Who cares about myself? I don't like my fellow brethren and sisters suffering and dying. I don't like anything about this. And that particular God would answer, I'm very sorry you feel that way. I love you more than you can possibly imagine. And this life that you're living, though you went through the veil to get to where you are right now as a living human being on this planet, prior to that, you were able to see what would more than likely happen. And you begged me for the opportunity to come here and to live through this experience. And so I understand how you feel. And the reason I understand how you feel is because I am you. Your physical body is me. Your mind and your brain is me. Your pain and suffering is mine. I feel it as if I were ignorant of what and who I am. Now again, mind you, I'm speaking as if I'm Brahma, the God that Jesus prayed to. And he would say, I love you so much that I offered my only begotten Son, whatever that means, Jesus. And when I say whatever that means, that's not what God would say. He knows what that means. I'm saying whatever that means because you and I, we don't know the full extent of what that means. And boy, those airplanes are crazy. This God would say to me, I had him come and offer his life as an atonement against sins to help you to become one with me. And I did that because I love you, and he did it out of his own free will and volition because he loves you. And there is no other reason that he and myself did this other than the fact that we love you. And that's why we did this. I created this entire universe and all the realms and all the realities for you because I love you. No other reason. I didn't do this because it's fun or joyous or because I wanted to trick myself into not knowing what and who I am by creating beings like yourself. I didn't do this because of what you are taught in Hinduism. It isn't a joke. It isn't an experiment. I've done this so many times that you can't count the number of times I've done this. And every time I do it is for the same reason. I do it out of love for you. So you can continue to hate me and be pissed off at me and not accept me for what and who I am. But you're doing that because you've been tricked by the father of all lies, which is the God of the planet, the world upon which you live. I did not create Satan any more than I created you. I created a universe and offered it light, and the essences that responded were diverse, all the way from Satan to my son Jesus and yourself and everybody else. And to say that I have a will, meaning free will is absolutely true. But there are people, almost all people, think that I have a will that says, I want you to be good. I want you to go out and teach the gospel. I am so glad and happy when you do the things that I ask. That's a lie. Those things are taught by the father of lies. There's no truth in that. Because if I wanted you to do something, if I were to say, I want you to preach the gospel, because I am God. Now, I'm not speaking as myself, John or Ness. Don't take this out of context. I'm speaking as if I'm pretending to be Brahma, okay? I have to interject that every now and then. Because I am God, if I said I want you to preach the gospel, you have to do it. Your free will would be subverted by my will. Because if you didn't do it, and there is something I want, and it didn't come to pass, then I would not be allowed to be God any longer. Somebody else would have to come up and stand to the plate, because I would have failed. Because I am perfect in every way, shape, and form, and no matter what comes out of my mouth, if I make an edict that there should be no evil, then no evil could exist. Because I'm God, the greatest of them all. And if I said that, and it didn't come to pass, then I would not be God. But if I said there could be no evil, then there could be no free will. And if there could be no free will, then there's no point to reality. Then all I would have created is an empty universe with robots. And then there would be no purpose to my existence either. So that's not the way reality is. I created reality. It is my will, as the creator of all things, to create all things. It is my will that the universe comes into existence, and it comes into existence. It is my will to shine the light of my love into the darkness of Brahman, outer darkness, the nothingness of nothingness from which all things come from. I shined my light of love into Brahman, and all the uncreated souls that are eventually become souls responded. Some were evil, some were not. The spectrum is wide. It is my will that you have free will. It is my will to provide every possible opportunity for you to continue to choose over billions and billions and billions of years, trillions of years, so that if you have it within your core essence to become one with me, and if you become one with me, you are exactly like me, with the same power and authority. But what power and authority do I really have? I am the God, the greatest of them all, but what power do I really have? Nothing can move. From Brahman, nothing is real. Nothing can move. Motion cannot take place. Physical reality cannot take place. Nothing can move. That is, when you understand that, you are enlightened. No, When you experience that, you are enlightened. And since nothing can move and nothing can exist, myself, God, the greatest of them all, is still in Brahman. I didn't move anywhere because I can't move. There is no possibility of movement. I can't have a physical existence because there's no such thing as physicality for me to inhabit or to create or to form. And you are in the same boat. I created an illusory reality for you to coexist within the reality that I created. And you believe the illusion because I made it that way so that you would believe it. So that you would have the opportunity to imagine or believe that you actually exist in a format of which you feel and see. But in the reality, there's no consistency to me other than I'm an awareness. I'm a spiritual awareness. I have no power to make you do anything. Well, I can make you cease to exist. I can make you jump up and down and pat your head. I can make you go to hell. But I can't make you love me. And I can't make you choose to follow me or worship me. And any God that says they can is a liar. Because your essence is the same as my essence. I have no power over your essence other than to love you. And that is my power. If you decide in this kalpa of time that you do not want to be one with me, it is your prerogative to go back to Brahman, outer darkness, nothingness. And maybe if you want to, see, this is the opportunity. The God, the greatest of them all, I'm speaking to you as if I were Brahman right now, Brahma. I'm speaking to you as if I was Brahma. You have the opportunity to go back to Brahman, outer darkness, the nothingness of nothing. Forget that you ever existed in this reality. You have the opportunity to go back to that. You have the opportunity to create yourself out of there just exactly like I did. And you can be the God that creates everything if you want. And now I'm going to jump and fast forward. By the way, now I'm speaking of reality as myself. John Brent Arness, the retired firefighter, with a pen name of Billy Kranston. I'm speaking to you. Here is the way it came across to me. You know what? Thank you, God, for telling me that. Thank you for telling me all those things. Thank you for telling me that I can choose to follow some other God. Choose to go back to Brahman and self-create myself into my own God without the need for you, Brahma, or Christ, or anybody else. That I can create my own light and shine it into the darkness of Brahman and attract souls to myself, as you have done throughout all time and eternity. Thank you for telling me that and explaining that to me. And as I thought about it, and as I realized what you are, your sacrifices for me, and when I recognized that you do not use threats, you do not use power and authority, when I found out the truth that none of that is true, that those teachings come from Satan, from all the gods except yourself, when I found out that you do it because you love me, and that your son Christ loves me, I don't want to go back to Brahman, outer darkness. Even though I have it within myself to be exactly like you without you, to be a God just like you, even though I have it within myself to do that. Because you've told me I can do that. You told me that I have the same essence power that you have. And because you explained that to me crystal clear, and you gave me a vision that expanded over trillions of years, and you gave me a experience that showed this alternative reality in such a way that it was a vision or a revelation, and so I lived it, and so that I know that it's real rather than just a teaching that it's real. Because you gave me that, I know who you are and what you represent. And because of that, I choose you, Father in heaven, God, Brahma. You are the epitome of love. I cannot think of anything in all eternity of what I would rather do. I would suffer to go to hell and live there for trillions of years, trillions of kalpas of time, or whatever it took to be one with you, because I love you. I love what you have offered me. I love the fact that you are love. I love the fact that you've explained these things to me. And because of that, I choose to be one with you, to worship you as my God for all eternity. Because there's no downside to it. You do not take from me anything throughout all time and eternity. Your whole desire for me is to be just like you. Your whole desire for me is that I could become 100% love like you are. If I choose it. And that's what I choose. Okay, that episode of this video is over. And now I want to express to you that what I'm telling you isn't written anywhere in the world. That whole episode that I just told you came to me 25 years ago, maybe longer. But the God enlightenment scenario probably was 20 years ago. And the Buddha enlightenment scenario was probably 7, 8 years ago. And the experience of Shunyata was maybe a year after that, which is the experience of Brahman. And so I'm telling you, whoever watches this video, or I'm offering you my friendship, my love. And I'd like to say that in spite of the world being filled with horrible things, it's still exciting. The fact that I know I'm going to die someday doesn't bother me. We're all going to die someday because that's the way this reality was set up. And then we get born again. It's kind of exciting. How do I honestly feel as a human being? Would I like to have billions of dollars? Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be a kick in the ass to drive around in a nice brand new Ferrari, have a jet plane to fly throughout the world. These things would be fun. But if I don't ever get it, which I won't, obviously, that's okay, that's fine. Because I'm not going to compromise my spiritual values to have that money and that power. Would I like to have all the power and authority like kings and rulers of the world? Would I like to have that? That I can honestly say no. I don't wish to have power and authority over anyone. Friendship? Yeah. Power and authority? No. Not even power and authority to thwart the demonic forces that control this world. And the reason is because honestly, if everyone were to awaken to what I know, or even a small portion of what I know, well, we could just band together and the demonic forces would have no power over us. Yeah, maybe they could kill us or do this or that. Maybe. But there's a lot of power in prayer to overcome those potential disasters. So there's kind of a balancing act. I hope that I'm not rambling. But that's pretty much, I think, what I wanted to cover today. I'm looking at my iPad, so a couple notes. There's so much taught in Hinduism. When I say Hinduism, I am just saying everything from Eastern teachings, philosophies, Sanskrit, the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, all of that stuff is taught in such a way that would indicate to me that the early teachings that from probably hundreds of thousands of years ago that come to us today probably did not come to earth through a Christ avatar, but instead through a Satan avatar. And the reason I say that is because I'm not saying it's bad or anything. It just lacks that concept of that profound love that the Creator God has for us. It misses that. And because of that, I don't see it as coming to us through a Christ avatar like Jesus, but instead, well, like they say Lucifer is the son of the morning star or whatever. Satan misunderstood the nature of God. A lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, a whole lot of stuff there. But it's misunderstood. When I say misunderstood, I'm saying that Shiva does not understand Brahma, does not understand the love that God has for us. But you have to get knowledge and wisdom and teachings of spiritual things from every source possible on the earth. Who cares that it's corrupt? Who cares that it's... Don't worry about any of that stuff. You're untouchable. So what that you might suffer a little bit because you learned a concept that was satanic or evil or whatever? Who cares? It doesn't matter. You're here to learn. You're in this reality to develop yourself, your essence. You're given all these incredible spectrum of opportunities to choose to create yourself. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes. But so what? You're doing the best you can. God loves you so much that He's provided ways to make yourself perfect. And you need to take up that opportunity to ask for forgiveness, regardless of whether you know you did something wrong or not. It doesn't matter. Ask for forgiveness every day, because it helps you to learn to be humble. It helps you to learn to be susceptible to having inspiration. I think that's the last thing I want to talk about, is in this world, in this reality that we live, there are two kinds of people. There are the kind that are receiving inspiration from the spiritual realm of God, Brahma. And then there are those that are receiving inspiration from their god, Shiva, Satan. And both sides believe they are doing the right thing. And why? Because they are doing the right thing. Some essences are at their core evil. And so they're going to have inspiration. There's two kinds of inspiration. They both look the same, but one is coming from Brahma and one's coming from Shiva. So that's what I wanted to end with. And pretty much off the charts, I would say. Pretty crazy. Hope you have a good weekend. I love you. I hope you have time to contemplate these things before the shit hits the fan in regards to whatever's happening in this world. Because the world leaders, the major world leaders, are functioning on a basis that they know something we don't. They know that maybe the 12,000 year cycle is right around the corner. That's the way they are functioning, because they don't care right now about following laws. They don't care about killing billions of people and creating wars. They don't care about any of these things. They are acting irrational. And so we just have to do our best to be out of their sights, so to say. We have great opportunities right now for spiritual growth, but at the same time, there's a lot of hellish things going on in the world. And so I hope and I pray that you would be able to gain whatever spiritual knowledge you possibly can. And I actually hope that they are all thwarted in their evil plans for us. But you can tell that they are all functioning in unison. When they talk about a one world order, a new world order, and all of that kind of crazy shit, they have some agenda, Marxist, communist agenda for the entire planet. And they're going at it at such a rapid pace. It appears to be so incredibly irrational. I mean, like, I live in the United States and the whole federal government is treasonous, corrupt. I mean, seriously, all of the heads of all the organizations, the FBI and CIA and the Justice Departments, certainly the president and all of his cabinet, they're all corrupt. Whatever it is they're doing, they act like they are trying to destroy the country. But it's the same in Europe and everywhere. So what the hell's going on? I don't know. Don't know. But they all function as though they are treasonous. And there are laws on the books for that sort of thing. I mean, they deserve to have legally, officially, be given the death penalty for what they're doing. Oh well, they have the power and authority right now, so don't know what they're doing. But I think they have an agenda because they know that 12,000-year cycle is right around the corner, and they don't care about the laws and the rules or anything else. They are preparing themselves to survive it. Let's put it that way. Because everything they're doing, they lie about everything. They won't tell the truth about why they're doing what they're doing. And it is apparently chaotic and irrational. So I don't know. I truly don't know why they're doing what they're doing. All I know is it is incredibly disruptive to hardworking people throughout the world. But they choose to do whatever they do for whatever reason. That's their prerogative. I choose to do what I do, and they choose to do what they do. I'm just grateful that there are good people in the world to be friends with. I'm grateful to have you guys as friends. I guess that's it. I love you, and I hope you have a good week. And who knows what my next video will be on, because you know what? I have no idea at this point. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.